What if we are not the first advanced civilization on Earth? Imagine for a moment that deep beneath the strata of time, below the familiar layers of our history, there lies evidence not only of ancient life, but of a civilization far more advanced than we have yet to discover. We often perceive ourselves as the pinnacle of creation, the first to achieve complex technology, art, and culture on Earth. But what if this assumption is mistaken? What if we are not the first advanced civilization to have arisen on this planet? What if, millions or even hundreds of millions of years ago, a people just as intelligent, or perhaps even more so, once called this world their home? To begin unraveling this provocative question, we must examine what we mean by advanced civilization. Today, when we think of advanced societies, we picture sprawling cities glittering with artificial light, networks of roads and communication, worldwide exchange of goods and ideas, and technologies that transform our environment, sometimes beneficially, sometimes destructively. We recognize hallmark signs: the manipulation of matter on atomic scales, energy production on massive levels, and profound impacts on the biosphere. But suppose such a civilization had existed in Earth's distant past. Would we be able to detect it today? Consider the age of the Earth, about 4.5 billion years. Complex life, multicellular organisms, only began to evolve in earnest roughly 600 million years ago. Modern Homo sapiens have existed for about 300,000 years, and our entire written history encompasses less than 6,000 years. Human technological civilization, as we know it, has developed rapidly only in the past 200 years. In comparison to the deep timeline of Earth, this is little more than the blink of an eye. Geological processes, plate tectonics, erosion, sedimentation, relentlessly erase the surface of the Earth. Anything left unprotected for millions of years is ground to dust, subducted, or buried deep beneath new layers of rock and sediment. Over vast timescales, mountains crumble, oceans shift, and continents drift. With such ceaseless turnover, is it possible evidence of a prior technological civilization could be entirely erased? Surprisingly, many scientists have considered this question. Researchers like Dr. Gavin Schmidt and Dr. Adam Frank have explored what they term the Silurian hypothesis. Named after a fictional advanced reptilian species from the British sci-fi classic Doctor Who. Their central question: would it be possible to detect an industrial civilization in the geological record? To answer this, let's turn to what humans have already left behind. Our artifacts scatter across the globe: roads, buildings, cars, plastics, alloys, synthetic chemicals. Subtle markers such as isotopic ratios altered by nuclear explosions, spikes in greenhouse gases, a sharp sedimentary line that may in the future mark the Anthropocene, our signature epoch, could all serve as future evidence of our passage. Some materials, like certain plastics or aluminum, degrade slowly, but even these may not survive millions of years of geologic activity. If humans were to vanish completely in the far future, only the most durable traces of our presence might remain. A subtle layer of synthetic compounds, chemically curious plastic molecules, radioactive isotopes, and a blip in atmospheric carbon dioxide levels. These possible technofossils might be the only hint left of our vast civilization after tens or hundreds of millions of years. If this is all that would remain of our world, what hope is there of detecting a civilization in rocks hundreds of millions of years old? Sedimentary strata are often destroyed, subverted, or recycled into new crust. Only a small percentage of rocks survive from deep time. Yet, there are some markers that can persist on these grand timescales. Large and unusual deposits of certain metals, shifts in isotopic ratios, mass extinction events, and traces of complex hydrocarbons. These, perhaps, could signal something extraordinary occurred. When paleontologists and geologists probe the strata, they sometimes discover disruptions, sudden extinctions, massive climate changes, the appearance of strange anomalies. Some events, such as the end Cretaceous asteroid impact, are now well understood, marked by global iridium layers, shocked quartz, and a compelling chain of fossils abruptly cut off. Others, like the Permian-Triassic extinction, remain mysterious, though massive volcanic eruptions and climate perturbations provide plausible natural explanations. Could a technological civilization create similar disruptions? Consider again our modern impact: climate change, ocean acidification, widespread extinctions, pollution with synthetic chemicals, and unique isotopes. Over millions of years, these would compress to a narrow geochemical signature in the rock record. If a previous civilization existed, they too may have had a profound, if fleeting, effect. We might then ask, do any such anomalies exist in the geologic record? For instance, the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum, about 56 million years ago, witnessed a huge rapid rise in carbon dioxide and global temperatures, ocean acidification, and widespread species migration and extinction. Today, the most likely causes are massive volcanic activity or methane release from oceanic clathrates. Yet, a select few have mused whether such an event could, in a remote possibility, signal industrial activity or a similar process from an extinct civilization. Skeptics, understandably, point to natural explanations as overwhelmingly likely. The principle of parsimony, Occam's razor, demands we prefer the simplest explanation that fits the evidence. We have yet to find traces in ancient rocks that are unambiguously of technological origin: no fossilized machinery, synthetic artifacts, or metals in concentrations inexplicable by natural forces. However, absence of evidence is not necessarily evidence of absence. The deepest layers of Earth have barely been sampled, and thick jungles of time separate us from such possible traces. If a prior civilization was short-lived or restricted to a limited area, their record might never have made it to the rock layers we now explore. They may have been aquatic or relied on organic technologies that left little trace. Or perhaps, like us, they perished through self-imposed catastrophe or planetary changes beyond their control. What about the fossil record? We do not see fossils of anything resembling modern humans or their tools prior to our own appearance. The great reptilian and mammalian dynasties that preceded us left behind evidence limited to the simplest tools, or, more often, none at all. It is possible, but highly unlikely, that a civilization with technology comparable to or exceeding ours would leave no visible fossilized remains. Unless, of course, their forms were utterly different. Perhaps they were not even animals as we know them. Perhaps they were cephalopods, or even something stranger still, a civilization of cognitive fungi or of communal hive mind bacteria. The further we go back, the stranger life becomes. If we expand our definition of civilization, if we imagine networks of intelligence utterly alien to our own, built upon odd chemistries, ephemeral signals, or non-physical means, then perhaps the very forms of evidence we seek cannot be found. Or perhaps, in our narrowness, we have failed to recognize them. Let's turn, for a moment, to our own epoch. Our technology, so deeply reliant on fossil fuels, mining, and synthetic chemicals, may not be the only path a civilization could take. Imagine a people who learn to master nature through means we scarcely comprehend: biosynthetic technologies, genetic manipulation, self-repairing organic cities, virtual consciousness residing in mineral matrices that do not fossilize, or even a civilization so in tune with the biosphere that their impact barely leaves a mark. Such civilizations could rise and fall with barely a whisper left in the geologic record. We are also drawn to the question, why would a civilization disappear so completely? Catastrophe is an ever-present possibility. Consider the major extinction events that periodically scoured the planet. The Great Dying at the end of the Permian, the asteroid that ended the dinosaurs' reign, the ice ages that reset the dance of life. These events can erase entire biomes, and perhaps civilizations. Even absent such devastating events, entropy works its course. Without ongoing maintenance, nature reclaims all things. Now, if we consider our nearest planetary neighbors, Mars and Venus, further questions arise. Some have speculated, often within the realm of science fiction, that Mars, with its ancient dry riverbeds, once boasted a civilization, or that Venus, before its runaway greenhouse effect, offered a livable world supporting life. Yet no evidence thus far has surfaced to support these exciting fantasies, though that they inspire us to keep looking. If, on our own planet, a previous civilization existed, their remnants could prove no easier to find. Indeed, possibly even harder, given the unremitting tectonic and erosive forces at play. Returning to the philosophy behind our search, we must acknowledge our human tendency to see ourselves as unique. This mythology is comforting, but the cosmos, and even our own planet, may not bend to our narrative. Given Earth's vast timeframes and the rise and fall of countless species, it is statistically plausible, the so-called mediocrity principle, that intelligence and civilization could have emerged more than once. The question then becomes, what are the odds, and where are the traces? Let us imagine the possibilities. Picture an ancient world, tens or hundreds of millions of years ago. Perhaps, during the Carboniferous swamplands teeming with insects and lush vegetation, a lineage of intelligent, sentient amphibians or reptiles took to the trees, built societies of wood and woven plant fiber, domesticated animals, discovered fire, and invented languages. Over millennia, they studied the stars, crafted myths, worshipped the forces of nature, and perhaps even developed their sciences and philosophies comparable to our own. In time, their civilization expanded, and with progress came peril, wars, challenges to the environment, struggles with disease and resource scarcity. Like us, their intelligence may have carried them to both triumphs and disasters. Eventually, a catastrophe, climate change, an asteroid, massive volcanism, or their own actions consumed them. The forests swallowed their cities, the rivers eroded their libraries, the continents shifted, bearing their memory. Alternatively, suppose a more humble civilization, the cephalopods, whose strange intelligence even today suggests the possibility of a very different path. Perhaps in an epoch long past, before mass extinction erased their ancestors' glory, a subaqueous civilization thrived in the depths, sophisticated in ways invisible to those of us bound to the land, producing art with pigments lost to the ages, building in the deep with materials dissolved long ago, communicating and recording knowledge in patterns we would not recognize in stone. Or perhaps the mystery lies even deeper, not in complex organisms at all, but in unified colonies of bacteria or microorganisms, a distributed intelligence, ephemeral and non-material, surviving in fleeting moments before being erased by the evolution of more familiar life. Their presence would leave almost no trace, except perhaps in chemical signatures we cannot now distinguish from the background noise of deep time. Despite all of this speculation, the scientific evidence at hand does not support the existence of a prior advanced civilization in Earth's prehistory. Our search has yielded only extraordinary complexity wrought by nature itself, a story of evolutionary leaps, mass extinctions, and recoveries played out over billions of years. Yet, the search is not in vain. The very act of considering this question reminds us of the fragility of our own civilization, the brevity of recorded human history, and the immense unchanging patience of geology. So, what does it mean for us if we are not alone in our planetary history? If even one prior civilization arose and was erased so completely as to leave only the vaguest traces, it would be a humbling lesson. No matter our triumphs, time will swallow all but the most enduring marks. It would serve as both a warning and a comfort, the knowledge that civilizations can rise more than once, that intelligence is not unique, that the cosmos is more intricate than our myths suggest. From another perspective, the absence of past technological civilization may serve as a stark message. If, within the long expanse of the geological record, only one civilization has arisen, perhaps the emergence of intelligence is rarer than we imagine, and thus infinitely more precious. It may be that complex life and the conditions necessary for technology are an improbable alignment, a cosmic coincidence not easily repeated. Either way, we are compelled to a deeper appreciation for our planet and our own stewardship of it. The marks we leave on the world, the technofossils, synthetic chemicals, nuclear isotopes, and greenhouse gases, may echo for millions of years. Someday, future scientists, human or not, might uncover our remnants and speculate about who we were and what became of us. As we peer further into the depths of time, our search for ancestors, whether familiar or fantastical, tells us about ourselves, our need for connection, the limits of our knowledge, and the enduring mystery at the heart of existence. Whether we are the first or not, our story is caught in the endless river of time, a brief flare, a moment of awareness, fragile in its impermanence, yet profound in its possibility. Perhaps, in the end, it is less important whether we are the first or the thousandth, but rather what we do with our brief moment. Do we build wisely or squander our gifts? Do we seek connection, understanding, ease, and preservation, or do we race toward oblivion? The answer lies not in the rocks, but in our choices. Thus, the question, what if we are not the first advanced civilization on Earth, is not just a matter of archaeology or astronomy, but of philosophy and foresight. It is a reminder to cherish our fragile place, to look both inward and outward, and to share the story of life, no matter how many times it has unfolded upon the stage of the earth. For in the end, we are both the tellers and the subjects of this ancient, ongoing tale, woven from the very dust and dreams of the world itself. Thank you for watching the video. What do you think about today's topic? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and share the video to support the channel. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.